Another anti-bullshit man response. We're on section K, zero-sum game as a postnatal proposition. I don't know exactly what that means, but who cares? So the zero-sum argument is a good one, I think. You know, it's a good subject. So let's talk zero-sum. So his example he used, I mean, people have used examples, you know, orgasm or sneezing or laughing. So his example is laughter or a extra bit of dessert that you don't realize you're really hungry for, but you start eating it and you say, ooh, that's good, or something like that. And so these are all the grand free pleasures of life. I mean, the ones that don't come with a requisite need or drive or desire that needs satiating for you to gain your pleasure. And certainly the obvious ones where, you know, I put a big giant, I drive my car over your foot. It'll feel good when I take the car off your foot, kind of gratifications we receive. He'll concede those, but he still thinks that there's, I guess, his argument is that there's some sort of substance of a decent amount of, anyway, a worth mentioning degree of free goodness that we experience. I'm going to argue that it's not. I mean, it is just a psychological phenomenon, and that we have all kinds of tension springs that are loaded in all kinds of configurations inside of us, and it is the release of those springs that we derive pleasure from. And those springs, as they're compressed very slowly, we don't really sense that we're being compressed. And the quick release is what we feel as a sensation of pleasure. So it's the building up of pressure, the bursting pimple kind of idea. That is the mechanism of what we call a gratification or a satisfaction. Elation derived through some sort of, you find out that the doctor made a mistake and you don't really have some kind of horrible disease, or you win the lottery or some other kind of thing, and all of a sudden you feel better and you have a good feeling, and obviously it has to come from somewhere. And yeah, my argument is the you have plenty of tension springs. You can find it, some of us, out through meditation and massage. Also, you kind of get to realize how much tension is in your body. There's certain kinds of massage that actually work on that principle, that to reload, to get you back to a neutral state. It almost has to, in this sadomasochistic way, almost cause you a little more pain going in to push the spring all the way down to reload it, kind of an idea. So it's like shiatsu kind of works on that principle, that you have these bad places in your chakra, or whatever they would call it, your meridian, and what you need is some more pressure placed on those places, antagonize them all the way, and then when you release that pressure, you'll get back to a pure neutral state, a relaxation of that area. You can sort of see that with pain, the way pain works inside of us. One pain can mask another pain, so sometimes it's good to have a little bit of some kind of pain to mask another pain. They're even using electronic devices that do that in a way that they create enough brain noise that you don't feel pain as harshly or as badly as before, because they're creating enough noise in your head that your brain can't recognize the pain anymore. Can't manifest it anyway. So anyway, I mean, it's not to me. We're still going to get back to some argument about whether you think there's some gain to be made in the adventuring itself, the discovery, boldly going west, young man, forever. You'll go find a new territory to reconquer for no good reason, kind of thing. And I'm saying it's zero-sum, and that you're just going around and around and around in a circle, and you're chasing a tail, so to speak, and you will not catch it in any kind of complete or satisfactory way, and you'll pay a huge price for the misses and the losses, and you know, there will be plenty of pain for your meager gains in the end, and that is in the end. But that there's this consciousness thing is a phenomenon of really, it's more about the addiction. It's not about, we don't sit in our lives and measure how much pain or pleasure we're experiencing. What's measured is how insatiable a desire is, hunger, and that's really what has us playing the game hard and willing to pay a price. Heroin addicts aren't thinking about the joy of heroin. They're thinking about the joy of not having the adverse effects of withdrawal in many cases. And you know, desire is kind of a weird mechanism that way, is that you're not really thinking when you're hungry, for example, you're not really thinking about eating. You're just thinking that you're hungry, that you're in a state of wanting. And it's not necessarily a bad state in terms of its you know, unless it was prolonged and you know, left unsatisfied, then it can become obnoxious, more aggressively obnoxious. But there's all kinds of tricks of weighting and frequency that your brain can play. The mechanism of psychology is something developed over millions and hundreds of millions of years to motivate organisms like us, and so yes, it's got some tricks, but I would say that they're largely tricks. And they probably have elements where it, in giving you a comfort or a gratification, it actually sticks the knife in, you know, sneakily, you know, and slowly pulls it out, kind of metaphors or some other kind of way of describing what basically happens and how you're going to perceive it as a net victory or a net gain. But in fact, the pain was built up incrementally, you know, one little murder at a time. But whatever, you know, I mean, you can either see that or you can't see that. You can either appreciate that that's the substance of your psychology, or you don't. I mean, it's hard to argue these things that seem so irrefutable in terms of just basic life experience. And so if someone's going to tell me that somebody tells a joke and they laugh, and therefore that laughter somehow makes something else worthwhile, some suffering or misery, you know, I'm going to be, yeah, sure it does. Yeah, I don't think so. I think some kind of negative motivation, some sense of incompleteness, some sense of dissatisfaction, some sense of that you are undone, unfinished, uncooked, raw, whatever, compels you. You're not compelled by any free, positive choice. You're compelled by a negative perception of incompleteness. Pretty much. So, whatever. But, yeah, it's certainly a zero-sum game from the individual perspective, in my opinion. And then from the larger whole, I think it becomes even clearer. You know, that you're not going to, the only way to play the game is to play it nearly perfect, and that's not losing anything. But you really can't compensate for a single loss, so in that sense, just recognizing that fact that one person's pain cannot compensate for another person's, I mean, one person's gain cannot compensate for another person's pain. It's just a fact. And that zero sums the game right there. So anyway, enough, I think. It's something I'll probably have to come back to. These people want some sort of, you know, you have to absolutely squish every bit of the bug or something. If you leave a little tiny fleck of bug left, they'll, you know, say the house is infested with a bug. It's You know, it's just kind of bullshit. Because you really don't need to eradicate all notions of net positive experience, the capacity to have something that's a free lunch. You know, because we know the free lunch is such a tiny part of the game we're playing that it really doesn't matter. You can't use that to excuse the game. So anyway, you really can't. Until next time.